You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
So let's talk about some kids who seem like they were just in high school. Now they're on the main stage. They are the marquee item. And that's the Thursday night football game, which puts the 0-3 Jaguars against the 2-1 Bengals. And let me say, they're the Bengals squad that's much better than advertised. But I don't know if the Jags are any better than they're advertised, because they look pretty bad. Like, they look terrible.
Yeah, but at least the Jags look like they actually know what type of football, know what the play is. You know, I mean, at least they look like that. But hey, Joe Burrow, rest assured, he's back. The D looks good. He's back. What do you want? 77.8% of his passes. He tossed 3 TDs recently. You know, he looks good. 122.9 passer rating. Joe Burrow.
You know, it's funny. Against the Bears originally, he was a little stiff, a little tight. Took him a minute to get into the groove. But then once he got into the groove, I think once he was knocked around a little bit, he was like, oh, hold on for a minute. Let me show you this. And then went on with his trio, Boyd, Chase. These cats, and Joe Mixon was really held in check. That's the funny part. But it was Boyd, it was Chase, they were able to do whatever they wanted to do to the Bears at some point offensively. And I don't see that changing really for Jaguar when it comes to Jacksonville, what they can do defensively. Right now, odds aren't good. Their odds are not. The spread is pretty high. It's a +7.5 for Jacksonville. So I don't know if this is a game I really would want to pick on. I'm almost sure I have who in my mind who's the best team. But I don't know if I would put money down on this game. I really don't.
Well, the thing about this is, you know who has the best offensive line. Joe Burrow on one pass play to Jamar Chase, he was able to get to his 5th read. That means he's got 3+ seconds back there if you're able to get to your 5th read. That means you did your 5-step drop and now you're bouncing if you're on your 5th read, and now you've escaped out of the pocket. So Joe Burrow is able to read the field. He's able to get the ball down the field, and he's also able to sit and stand tall behind a really good offensive line. We understand that an offensive line makes the engine go. That's what makes the Ferrari go down the road. I think Joe Burrow is a Ferrari type of quarterback, and I think once this offense gets to rolling, they're going to get rolling. I think the little Jaguars are going to be in trouble. Joe Burrow, I think right now is really feeling himself. I think he's really back from that injury. And he reminds me a lot of Dakota Prescott. Yeah, that he was able to come and take an injury and remove it out of his mind. And you don't see any jitters whatsoever about him throwing the football. I just think this is going to be one situation where the Jags are just outclassed. I mean, the Bengals are good. And I think they're just going to get better as the year goes along. And I think Joe Burrow is going to be one of those guys we're going to talk about, the top 10 quarterback in the league. I think so.
It's one that I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be good football drama, but I'm not even expecting the Jaguars to do any more than what they've done right now. But I got a question for you, Jay. Something that popped up. Al Michaels has been in the news. And it's that NBC would boot Al Michaels from Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Sizzle or fizzle?
Well, I'll say it like this. All right. At some point in time, you got to put the old horse out to pasture.
Okay.
Relics, sometimes they look good, but they're not supposed to be driven down the street every day. So I think he's a situation where he might be past his time. And you don't really know exactly what all of the ramifications of what's going on. Secondly, who's just been inserted into Sunday Night Football? I believe hadn't a certain young lady been moved to Sunday Night Football yet? Is she there yet?
I don't know if she's there yet, but one of the things that we're trying to figure out is that Al Michaels will be calling Thursday night games with Mike Tirico. So that's something that you can see coming, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's 77. How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe we can say he's 77 and they want him on Thursday night.
I think so. And then also, too, Al Michaels is still, well, you got to think Thursday Night Football does not still, it's the third wheel of the league. It's not Monday Night Football, which I almost want to say Monday night trumps Sunday football. The only thing I think that's bigger than Monday Night Football might be Sunday Night Football, but I still think Monday night's number one. I think Sunday night and Sunday during the day, the next game. So I want to say probably Thursday Night Football is probably fourth on the list.
Okay.
And so now you have Mike Tirico there and you have Al Michaels there. Well, that brings it some nostalgia back into that. It brings you back to those old booths back in the day, even though they were Monday Night Football with the Frank Gifford and the old Sage, who was telling stories of yesteryear when people wore leather helmets and all this type of stuff, and they were missing plays on the field. Even though that doesn't necessarily happen with Mike Tirico, he'll keep him on track, but you'll get a lot more reminiscent. I think the Sunday night, the Sunday games, I think they're trying to come with a little bit more punch, because you have you still have the behemoth, which is Fox, who gets their games out there, and I'm gonna not be surprised that you're gonna start trying to see more people getting involved, younger group getting involved, trying to lock in those Sunday games. Also, you've got the Manning brothers really taking over Monday night. So ESPN is like, ain't nobody getting none of this on Monday night. And I would not be surprised at some point in time if you did not see ESPN somewhere down the line trying to get involved more on the Sunday end of games too. And maybe bring the Mannings in there, or somebody like the Mannings into the fold, and maybe try to get themselves a game in there also. There's always a lot of shuffling for this dollar, but I think you just see Al Michaels. It's just, he's getting older now. At some point in time, you don't want am I wrong for saying this? Yeah, I am wrong. I'm gonna say it anyway. You don't want your anchor, who is, getting older, all of a sudden take a turn for the worse. And now you got Black Bunting on the newscast while you're trying to broadcast a game. I mean, you would rather do that on Thursday night because it's not as important as a Sunday game. And I think maybe that's something they're trying to do. It's easier for him not to be there on Thursday night than it is for him to be there on Sunday.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you've got a Mike Tirico who's waiting at NBC. I believe he's to take over the main play calling duties for NBC for Sunday Night Football in 2022. It's a weird shuffle. And as you said, it might be something to energize that Thursday night. I mean, we've watched this with NFL games. You've seen some callers and some plays, and even with John Madden, when he was kind of unceremoniously moved out of the way, and that's how you have your Chris Collinsworth. But it's an odd thing. It just comes up, and hey, if Thursday night's where he's going to be, then I'm great with it. I mean, at this point, he's not as bad as Terry Bradshaw. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. But Terry Bradshaw should not be doing the intro bumpers to games and giving highlights. He cannot. It is impossible. He should not be doing it. And oh, by the way, it's too many people on that damn set at Fox. It's way too many of them. It's like 55 people up there. I don't know who's talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see the young guys coming. You see the Greg Olsons are coming out now. You see all these different guys getting ready to come out. They're taking guys who just played last year and they're putting them in the booth. Mm-hmm. And so they got to make room for these guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they come at a lot cheaper rate than Al Michaels. And I'm sure Al Michaels is making a pretty penny to be doing these games. So
this has been his 36th year.
Oh, something like that. It's pretty incredible.
He's been there for a long time. And as you're right, the only person I think that's making more money than anybody is Tony Romo. And
rightfully so.
He is, but in the great words of one of the beloved fathers of TV and film, there is something about when you listen to Tony Romo that he insists upon himself. And as you listen to Tony Romo.
He did what to himself?
He insists upon himself.
Oh, I thought you said something. I was like, wow, did they give him some Charmin? Whoa. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, he insists upon himself. And it is constant. And I think he insists upon himself. I do.
But the thing about it is, though, that Tony Romo calls out plays before they even happen. You know, he breaks out the circle telestrator, unlike a certain BMO telestrator who was circling some things he should have been circling.
Hey man, you better stop talking about your cousin. You better stop talking about your cousin like that.
We're probably related. But he really would break out the telestrator before the play starts and say the ball's going right here, which you really haven't seen anybody else really do that. The only people who really are doing that a little bit right now are the Mannings. I mean, Peyton will call some out, but Tony Romo will literally go, the ball's going right here to this guy at the 35-yard line.
But aren't they somewhat, and they can insist upon themselves in the great words of Peter Griffin, but they have play calling ADD. Like, they'll get off into tangents, and you're like, hey, man, there were like 5 plays. And they're like, whoa, I didn't see that play. Did you see it? And he's like, yeah. And there's like, Eli, you didn't see it. And you're like, I did see it. And you're like, no, you didn't. I did. And then you're like, hey, man, they just scored. Oh, well, okay, let's go back and look at this score. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to see Charles Barkley on any NFL coverage. I don't.
Yeah, but I'm such a wonky type guy when it comes to offenses, NFL, that the little nuances like that, I'll take the glossing over some stuff to have stuff broke down. To say, look at this cover 2, we're in this cover 2 shell, and you're going to force Aaron Rodgers to keep throwing the ball up underneath. But as soon as they go to a cover 1 shell, or they go to a cover 1 and go man under or something like that, you're going to look up and all of a sudden you're going to see you're going to see Deontay Adams get loose on the outside, and 4 plays later, that's what you saw.
Yeah.
So I like that part of football. I sort of miss the that's why I think football has evolved into when you had the people able to get the games on, that will pop up, that the red zone will pop up. Like you could have it on your TV and the games will pop up, who's ever getting ready to score. I think once we got there, we had to have greater analysis. We just couldn't have, like in the college games where we just had football, we're talking about the majesty of the field and this, that, and other, and, the sun glistening off their helmets. Most guys now, they want to know if he makes a sluggo route and he gets separation, the ball needs to be thrown 4 yards off the sideline at the 27-yard mark to make a completion. People like that. They want to be involved. I think the pageantry of the game now, it has been diluted to the point where the NFL had to go and pull in some college nonsense and allow these players to wear whatever number they want to wear out there. It's to that point now where, just the majesty of the game is a little bit diluted right now. And they're trying to bring back some of that love of the game by, grown men running around with number 7, playing the defensive line, which is ridiculous.
So when we look at it as a wrap for this Thursday night game, we look at, again, Thursday night, just our thoughts quickly when it comes to it. You've got Jags, you've got the Bengals. What are we saying? Are we saying that are we agreed on a sweep here? Are we both saying that the Bengals will go into and slap around Jacksonville? Is that what we're saying right now?
Hey, that loss to Atlanta was a 31-19 for Jacksonville. That was the Jacksonville team that's out there. So Joe Burrow is going to come in and do about the same thing. I would give the exact same score, 31-19 for the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow, and then they're laughing on the sidelines in the fourth quarter.
Oh, so Joe Burrow travels to Jacksonville for a Thursday night football game, slaps around the Jaguars, covers the spread, and everybody's happy. And that's your Thursday night football. I think we've given you all the sizzle you need.
And it's not sizzling either. And whoever said sizzling was real food, that's why you have a foot growing out your forehead if you were eating that nonsense back out of the 70s. Remember sizzling? Sizzling was terrible. It was rubber. Sizzling was fried rubber. It was just so bad. Turkey bacon is also bad too. Just don't eat bacon if you're going to throw turkey bacon out there. Even a turkey won't eat turkey bacon. You know what I'm saying?
That's because they're dead, Jay. They are the bacon.
Oh, well. Do we have to get practical? Do we have to come in with that knowledge, sir? I had them. They were looking to me, yeah, Jay, you're right. You're right. Now, here you go. Hey, no, they're already dead. Now they feel bad about the turkey bacon.
No, they don't feel bad. It just feels like I at the moment, I thought you were having an Al Michaels moment, and I came in and Chris Collinsworth you.
I'm like, hey, which way is the camera? I'm like looking like this. Is there a game on? Yeah,
Okay, we're out of here. You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the sizzle in the building. Which way is the camera? Too damn funny. Now that was funny. Remember to look for our exclusive interview with Coach Angela Hamblin Blakely from the region. You know who only does it the way we do it, which is the sizzle, right here on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.